unmute yourselves because this is going to be, whilst we're going to do a presentation, in another moment, we're going to start. I'm going to introduce you to the man of the moment, Roy Galitz, and he'll do about a 25-minute presentation. Then it will be open to many questions. So I encourage you to unmute yourselves so that we'll all be able to hear you. But for the first 25 minutes, we'll allow Roy to present. Okay,
I'm in Antarctica, as you can see.
You're in Antarctica. Got it. Okay. All right. I think we are going to proceed. What do you say, Roy?
I'm ready when you are.
You're ready?
Yeah.
All right. So
I was born ready.
You're always ready. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me just see one second. There's a few people still waiting to be admitted. I just don't want anyone to be sitting out of this. I'll just check one last check if everybody
Camera's off.
admitted. Cool. Okay, let us start. Anyone who joins will catch up on the recording, as I mentioned.
David, can you make me a co-host or host just so I can share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Again, host tools. Share screen. Where do I actually do that? I'm sorry, I haven't done that for a while.
You need to go on the participants and then go next to my name, click on more.
Got it. Make host. Got it. Done. Okay.
Yeah, I've been promoted. Okay, great.
All right. Before I introduce Roy, first of all, I want to welcome everybody formally to this Zoom. To say the least, we are very, very excited to be launching this project. It's been something I've dreamed of for many, many years. And when I say I include my wife, Hannah, who many of you know. Whilst we've traveled to 5 out of 7 continents, it looks like we'll get to Antarctica before we get to one of the other 7 continents. Which one have we not been? South America. But having said that, it's a kosher traveler's dream to take people around the world where it is logistically challenging from a kosher point of view, from a Shabbat point of view, from a lifestyle point of view. And whilst many of you are very well-seasoned travelers, this is a destination that not one of us can do on our own. And it takes the likes of an organization that Roy Galitz belongs to, and it's his own company called Photo Teva, in association with the charter companies of the cruise expedition lines that he has been working with in association for close to 20 years. And we'll go into all the details of the kosher and Jewish side of things. But let me just tell you a little bit about Roy Galitz. I just want to see if there's anyone else not on the Zoom waiting to be admitted? No. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about Roy Galitz. He is in the last 15 years, he has been exploring and documenting our planet's wildlife. He's a professional photographer and gets great exposure worldwide. Put that on mute, please. With millions of views and frequent appearances in the media, BBC, National Geographic, and others. His images are presented in local international exhibitions, featured in exclusive magazines, and honored with many international awards over the years. His main attraction is the high Arctic and the polar bears. As an environmental diplomat and a Greenpeace ambassador, Roy has given 3 TED Talks, spoken at the United Nations headquarters, New York Climate Week, and conventions all over the world. Most recently in Wuhan, and he might even mention that. He is also a board member and on the advisory board for several environmental NGOs. So, and the fantastic thing is that Roy and I have hit it off as partners in this project, and he will be our head guide and expedition leader on the Antactica Expedition, January 2026. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Roy. Take it away.
Thank you so much, David. I'm really excited to be here with you. And again, as David said, I'm really passionate about the polar regions, which is as far away from home as possible. Home for me is Givatayim. And suburbs of Tel Aviv. I'm sure you know. And as somebody who has been to the polar region so many times, okay, so far around 40 times ish, but who's counting? I just saw how fast, how rapidly everything's changing, and this is why it became my mission just to spread the love for the polar regions, but also the awareness to the threats that it undergoes with climate change and everything that's going on. And together with David, of course, this is the first ever in history, the first fully kosher charter ship to Antarctica. So it's really exciting. We have been doing kosher in the past in Antarctica, so we know it can be done. But of course, with the help of David and his amazing crew, I'm sure this will be even better than ever before. So we're really looking forward, and I will be there on board with you. I'm not missing out on this opportunity, and we're going to have a great time when we're there. So without further ado, I will start my presentation. Where is my screen share? Okay. This is on the way to Antarctica, the Pumas. Can you hear me well, by the way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Terrific. So Antarctica, first of all, in case you, just out of curiosity before, how many of you have been to 6 continents?
Where?
6 continents.
6. How many with a raise of hand?
3.
Albert is the only one. How many have been to 7? None. How many have been to 5? Okay, so we're getting there. So the
5.
Helen is still counting. Yeah, okay. So Antarctica on our world map is just down under, just as far south as can imagine. So Antarctica is the 7th continent. It's around 14 million square kilometers, but only 1,000 people live there. So it's owned by no nation. It's international land. And some cool facts about Antarctica. So first of all, it's the highest continent in the world, averaging 2,200 meters in altitude, which is the second highest continent is Asia, 800 meters in altitude. It's the coldest continent, of course, temperatures reaching minus 90 degrees. It's the driest continent, so the entire Antarctic is a desert. So it's actually the largest desert in the world, not the Sahara, but Antarctica. And also it's 97.6% under permanent ice. So 70% of the fresh water in the world is in Antarctica. And of course, if it melted, the sea level around the world will rise by 60 meters. So Antarctica is a continent like no other. It's just like being on another planet, okay? I'm not sure if we'll get to be on another planet during our lifetime, but Antarctica is absolutely as close as it gets. It's so much more different from home, no matter if your home is Jerusalem or Queens, okay? But it's as different as could be. So I've been many times in Antarctica. In December, early season, this is what it looks like. We're going to be there later in the end of January. So you can see I'm always smiling in Antarctica, and I'm sure you will as well. It's a very happy place just because it's so pristine, so clean, it's so untouched, so spectacular, and it's guarded by an invisible wall. The wall is the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. That's a current of water, ocean water, circling around Antarctica and accelerating for millions of years without interruption of land. This is the only ocean current in the world that is actually uninterrupted. And this is why it's so fast. It actually moves around 170 million cubic meters of water per second. So if you take all the rivers on Earth, all the rivers, the Nile, the Amazon, the Mississippi, each and every river on Earth, you combine it all together and you multiply it by 100, it's still not as strong as the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, the ACC. Okay, it's that powerful. It's 7 times stronger than the Gulf Stream. So it connects 3 oceans, the Pacific, the Atlantic, and the Indian Oceans. And the Drake Straits, the Drake Passage, is the narrowest point of this current. So the Drake Passage, you can see the waves. This is an average day in the Drake Passage. And the colors, blue means calm water, and red and white means very wavy, very choppy, as they say. You know, just a second, when I close the door, the kids are on summer vacation. Just a sec.
Where's it going?
Close the door. Kids are in there.
Kinderlachen, you know. So, the Drake Passage is the narrowest point. And the thing is, people used to cross it by boats. And I have crossed it several times with a ship, which wasn't as fun as you would imagine. So just a little bit of history without going too far in. Antarctica was hypothesized even in the ancient Greek times. They thought that there is a continent called Antarctica. They called it Terra Australis, southern land. Captain Cook tried to discover it in 1775 and failed. And the only first discovery, confirmed discovery of Antarctica is in January 27th, 1820. And Bellinghausen, which was sent by the Russian Tsar, was the first person to actually discover Antarctica. So it's also the last continent to be discovered. This is an artist's depiction of that first encounter with Antarctica. So imagine crossing the Drake Passage in one of these ships. I'm sure some of them were seasick. So the great explorers also discovered Antarctica. Scott tried to get to the South Pole and failed. Amundsen, the Norwegian guy, beat him to it. He was the first person to reach the South Pole. Shackleton tried to cross the Antarctic and, of course, failed, miraculously failed, but in a spectacular way. And he and his crew survived for 2 years in the Antarctic when nobody died in the expedition. So Antarctica was always far away. It was always a dream destination. It was always the pinnacle of exploration. And people gave their lives to be there and to walk or sail in the foot of giants and see the same places that they've been to. Again, for me, it's a huge, huge privilege. And again, I hope you will share that with me. So today, instead of crossing the Drake Passage, we fly. So we fly with this chartered plane. It's a private jet, 4-jet engine, private jet, only 70 seats. And we are flying from Punta Arenas in South Chile, and we land in Antarctica. When we land in Antarctica, we land on an island called King George Island. Over there will be 3 minibuses that will pick us up and will drive us to the shoreline where we will board our ship. So our ship is the Ocean Nova, and we're going to sail around along the peninsula of Antarctica. This is our ship, the Ocean Nova. And when we're doing this sail, we will visit a lot of the best places, hopefully all of them, of the best places in the Antarctic Peninsula. And what we're going to see there, I'm going to say that in a minute. But we will visit many of these little fjords and little bays around the peninsula. And all of this area over here is very protected from the ocean. So the sea is between relatively flat and completely flat. Okay? So you don't really need to worry about seasickness. It's not really a thing since we are already in the Antarctic Peninsula, which again breaks all the ocean current. And once we got back from our cruise, we fly back to Punta Arenas. So the duration of the flight is around 2.5 hours. That's the duration of the flight. So we take off, we fly over Tierra del Fuego, the land of fire in South America, cross the Drake, land in King George Island, go with the minibus to the shoreline, get on our ship, sail, come back, fly back again. So that's our plane, a really, really cool plane. The reason why it has a top wing and not a bottom wing, it's because we need to get the engines away from the ground because we're landing in Antarctica on gravel. So we need to get it as high as possible. And this is our previous full charter that we had there last year. So you can see 65 Israelis on Antarctica, okay? Which was, again, an amazing, amazing expedition. We've received so many perfect 10 out of 10 reviews on this expedition. So it was a true pleasure. And of course, Antarctica, we have a lot of ice. Ice is the base of the ecosystem over there. And ice tells a story. And we're going to talk about ice just because ice is amazing. And every iceberg has a story. And of course, penguins. So this is a Gentoo penguin. So in the early season, they nest on rocks. And when we will be there, we'll see parents with babies. So this is a mother and her little chick, and you can see how she's feeding him. So he'll grow up as quickly as possible so they can start migrating north before winter comes. So of course, January is peak season. End of January, early February is the warmest period in Antarctica. So in that period of the year, the temperature is about +5, +7 degrees centigrade on average. Okay, we've even had days of +15 degrees Celsius. This is an Adelie penguin. Okay, you can see this is a very furious mother. And you can see her chicks are pretty ugly, but cute. And when they grow up, they become prettier. And then they start moving around and waddle between us. This is a chinstrap penguin, which you will also see. It's very common penguins to see. So the Adelies, the Gentoos, and the chinstraps are very common, and we will see them. This is a petrel, again, one of the birds that seabirds that are there. This is a skua, Antarctic skua, and this is a sheepbill, and these are the Antarctic terns. So we have a lot of birds. This is Antarctic shags, and not only birds, of course, we also have mammals. So seals. This is the Weddell seal, which is one of my favorite, to be honest. That's me over there in Antarctica enjoying the warm summer. And of course, we have the emperor penguin. So the emperors are the largest of the penguins. They can reach height of 1.1, 1.2 meters, so 120 centimeters max. So we might see the emperors. I don't want to promise anything, because sometimes we see one or two, but usually we don't see the colonies. And of course, we have leopard seals. So this is the leopard seal, also very cool mammal. These guys eat penguins. And fur seals and the crab eater seals. So we have a lot of varied wildlife mammals and birds. And of course, we can't talk about Antarctica without mentioning the whales. So these are humpback whales, and the humpbacks over there, they're again one of the coolest in the world because they bubble net feed. So they create a net of bubbles, and then they just go up and take the entire thing in, and they eat a lot of food to sustain their big bodies. Here we can see a mother with her young baby. Look how adorable the baby is in the front. And the behind the scenes for this photo looks like this. Okay, So you can understand that we're getting pretty close to the animals. Okay, so I can tell you that last year we've had over 100 humpbacks when we were cruising Antarctica. So February is the peak season for humpbacks. So we're going to be there at the best season of the year. Again, the mother with the baby, look at their baleen, okay, which are hairs, actually not teeth. And this is how they filter the water. And of course, sunsets in Antarctica are fabulous. This is from my drone. You can see how they bubble net feed. And for those of you who want to do kayaks, we also have a kayak program. Here you can see our brave kayakers and the whale that was playing around with them for an hour. When they got back on the ship, they couldn't even describe in words what they had. One of them, a lady, just was crying from excitement. Okay? So that can also happen. I like it when people cry from excitement. It's the only reason to cry, if you ask me. And of course, again, landscapes and the experience here. You can see our ship and the whale in front. And again, you can also swim if you want. Okay, swimming is great. If you're tired, it really wakes you up in a second. Okay, don't worry about it. Again, only for the brave souls. You say Shema Israel and jump in the water. And of course, my favorite sunset in Antarctica. And what I want you to see in this photo, if you look at the bottom part of this big iceberg, you can see these little pixels. These are penguins. These are penguins. And this iceberg is about 150 meters tall. 150 meters tall. Okay, for those of you who live in Israel, this is the size of Azrieli in Tel Aviv. And as they say, this is just the tip of the iceberg. But this case, literally. Okay? So most of the iceberg is underwater. So the icebergs in Antarctica are skyscraper size. So to recap, our trip is we fly in, we fly out. We don't need to cross the Drake Passage. Our cruise, our ship is a very nice ship. I've personally been on that ship several times. She's a beauty. We don't spend a lot of time in the rooms. Okay, we spend most of our time out on the lounge or on the shoreline. So we go on the Zodiacs. So we hardly spend any time on the room. And we will be as much as we can on land, on shore, on Zodiacs, with penguins, with whales, with seals, and whatever we can find. We will do our Shabbat in one of the bays, okay? Probably Nico Harbor or Paradise Bay, one of my favorites, two of my favorites, sorry. So that's the plan for Shabbat. And again, we will have kosher food. Again, David and his crew are taking care of that. So you're in good hands, much better than mine, to be honest. But you're in good hands with me and my team when it comes to the Antarctic. Okay, that's where I've been more times to Antarctica than I've been to Petah Tikva. Okay, and I can tell you I like Antarctica better. And so if you have any questions, now would be a great time to ask. For people who usually the questions are, what time does the sun set? So the sun sets at around 11 p.m. at that time of the year. The ship, again, you don't get a lot of seasick or at all. You don't get any seasick. If you are prone to seasickness, you can take pills that are non-drowsy like Quells, and then your problem's solved. And another issue, again, questions that we have a lounge where we hold all the talks. All the talks will be in English, okay? And we have a library, which the library will be converted into a synagogue for the duration of the cruise. So that's also going to be there. And what else? We try to go on land twice a day once we're there in Antarctica. Okay, so we do aim for twice a day and activities plus talks.
Roy,
Yes, David.
perhaps
Yeah.
that's an opportunity just to explain what the zodiacs are. You showed it in the picture and how it works with stepping on and off the ship.
So this is this is a zodiac. You can see the zodiac, the one behind the whale. Okay, that's the zodiac, and so it's a little boat that's with a pontoon that can carry up to 15 people, but we only carry 10 people on each. Yeah, just like in Galapagos, Helen. But this is a bigger one that usually you have in Galapagos. So this is a Mark V Zodiac. I don't want to get too technical, but it's the best one.
And how many?
Okay, very durable.
How many zodiacs are on the ship?
7.
So if you've got 10, 15 on each, so you've
we're getting 10. We're putting 10 on each.
10 on each. There's enough space for everyone.
Enough space. Yeah, 9 to 10 people on each zodiac. And again, the zodiacs many times is just a taxi to get on shore. So we will board the zodiacs, get on shore, and then regroup once we're on shore. So when we are on shore, we'll split into groups. So we don't go around 60 people together. We do hikers group. Those are people who like walking and suffering, and then we'll go climb a mountain. There will be a medium group. This is a group that walks for around 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. And there will be a group of beach dwellers. So these are people who don't walk too much. Okay, so you can be fine with walking 200 meters. Okay, that's also an option. You don't have to walk if you don't want to. There is also a scientific group. So we do have 2 scientists on board. And people who want to go out help the scientists, which is great and interesting because you learn a lot. Then you can go count penguins, or you can go check the salinity of the water, or do other scientific work that they collect data. And we also have a photography group. So if you are a photographer and you want to learn more and do some photography, you're more than welcome. And so we do have a lot of groups, and each group is usually around 10 people. So that's basically how we usually handle things. And some of the landings will have stations. So we'll have a guide. So we have 10 local guides. So we'll have a guide at each station. So we have a guide next to a seal. And we have a guide next to a nesting pair of gene-twos. And we have a guide next to a little, I don't know, flower or whatever. And then when you walk around between the guides, then you come over there, and then they explain and tell you, listen, this is what we see here. This is a penguin, that's the mother, and this is the chick. She's feeding it krill, same as I digested, and yada, yada, yada. And you can learn and ask questions. And so we have an amazing high-end team on board of zoologists and historians and geologists and many gists on board, many, okay? So don't worry, again, they are so much more knowledgeable about the Antarctic than me. That's all they do and all they've been doing for the last 10 years. We have at least usually 2, 3 PhDs on board, plus a lot of other scientists.
Question was asked.
Yeah, Helen.
What we will be.
So I've read that sometimes when you fly, instead of taking the boat over Drake's Passage, sometimes there's a problem with the flight. It could be delayed or it could be stopped. What would happen in that case?
I'll explain. So that's very true, Helen. You're absolutely right. So I can tell you that our flights, first of all, our trip starts on a Tuesday, which is, again, Pamaim Kitov. Okay? So our trip starts on a Tuesday, and our flight is scheduled for a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. That's when the flight is scheduled. So I can tell you that.
Right, just step back. Tuesday, meaning that we want everybody in Punta Arenas by 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
Tuesday. So
correct.
It gives enough time from anywhere in the world to arrive in Punta Arenas by
Correct.
2 p.m. And perhaps, Roy, explain what is the reason we need to be by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, even though our scheduled charter is
I'm
Wednesday
getting
morning.
there.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday, we have a hotel booked for you in Cabo del Horno. It's a very good hotel. So our flight is scheduled for 9 a.m. on Wednesday, so the following morning. But we do need a window of weather, good weather, especially fog, okay, to land in King George Island. So since the time we arrive at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we are on flight alert. Okay, so we are waiting for the flight window. If we see that the weather, for Wednesday and Thursday doesn't look good, okay, in terms of forecast, we will fly on Tuesday afternoon. And we have done that in last year. That's what happened to us. We flew at 6 p.m. on the first day, on Tuesday, okay, for example. So 93% of the flights depart on this scheduled day. So today, with the new planes and everything, they can handle a lot of the necessary power and adjustment that they need to land on the same day as planned. Unlikely that it will be a day later if the weather is bad and there is, again, safety issues, not just only safety, nothing else. Or it could be a day early, which is what we had last year. So that's this is 99% of the cases, okay? 1% of the cases is that it's postponed by 2 days, okay? So that's unlikely, but we start our praise now and it should be okay. But again, the luck, the chances, the statistics are on our side. So we do plan on flying on Wednesday, if not 9 a.m., it could be at noon, okay? But usually, again, especially at the end of January. In December, the weather is much more unpredictable because it's still springtime, okay? In January, February, it's already peak summer and the weather is much more stable and we should not expect so much fog as we do in November, December. Okay, and speaking of the boats, I just want to mention another thing, Helen. Last year, when we were flying to Antarctica, I told you we flew a day early because of weather. The sea was so rough, it had the Drake Passage had 12-meter waves. 12-meter waves. That's, I don't know, 36 feet. Not so much fun. And 4 ships had to turn around and go back to Ushuaia, and those 4 ships waited in the bigger channel that's just next to Ushuaia in the sheltered area. They waited there for 2 days, and after 2 days the sea would still not calm down. It was still too risky, so they came back to port and they sent all their guests home. 4 ships. So again, crossing the Drake also isn't guaranteed because when the waves are over 10 meters, ships are not allowed to cross because of safety. Okay, so again, it's not just flights; it's also cruising. But the ship cruises again when the seas are high, 6 meters, 5 meters and above. The ships usually slow down to 7 knots, 8 knots, and then the crossing takes 60, 70 hours of nightmare, choppy waters. Not the most fun. When we flew again. Last year they had 12-meter waves. 2 hours, we were in Antarctica, had a nice cup of coffee on the plane, and landed safely. So, yeah.
Perhaps,
Okay.
Roy,
Yeah.
might you just go through the rest of the schedule in terms of days, and then
Okay.
the last day as well, how that works in reverse of the first
Sure.
day.
I just answer Philip.
And then we'll get to Shabbat as well.
Yeah.
Well, I just was wondering, sounds like you have a lot of specialists on board to give out talks
Correct.
or lectures. Does this include like astronomy, astronomers, biology, the ecosystem? And is it a formal program of lectures?
Yeah, so there is a formal program of lectures, of course, and there is not really astronomy on board because it doesn't get dark, so astronomers will be unemployed. but the zoologists and the biologists and marine biologists mostly, they're very active. Okay, so you'll hear a lot of talks about penguins, whales, seals, etc., but also about ice. There is a guy, one of the guys, his name is Kuba. He loves ice. He has an amazing ice presentation of 1 hour about ice. I've never knew that ice is so amazing. Okay, so there is a lot of formal talks on board. Yeah.
I just have one more quick question, if you don't mind. I see these whales sitting right near these zodiacs, et cetera, et cetera. Within the last month, in someplace in the United States, a fishing boat, a private fishing boat, was around the whale. I don't know if they were bothering, but the whale decided they didn't want the boat around, jumped out of the water and crashed right down. Any bad incidents with whales so close to our passengers?
Well, me, never. And also in recorded history, there was never a case of reported whales in Antarctica. I don't know what the case you're talking about, and I don't know which kind of whale was it, and I don't know what they did to deserve it. Okay? But the only case prior to that is Jonah. Okay, the rest since then.
And he survived. And he survived.
Yeah, he survived. Yeah.
We won't try that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, Helen.
What's the temperature of the water that time of year?
So depending where, so usually when we do the polar plunge, we do it in a place called Deception Island. So Deception Island, called Deception Island because they thought it's an island, but apparently later on they found that it's a volcano, it's a caldera. And this caldera actually erupted several times, twice in the 20th century, killing some Chilean scientists. So we usually try to swim there, to do the plunge there for two reasons. One, because of the lava, or it's a volcano, okay, the water is a bit warmer. Okay, so it's about plus 5-ish degrees centigrade. Okay, but in the Antarctic itself, the temperature is about plus 2. So plus 2, plus 5, I'd rather have plus 5.
But Roy, that actually segues into a question we've got about coats and outwear that is recommended, what is supplied, what are the guests supposed to bring with them?
So regarding the so again, we supply with boots, okay? The rest of the gear you need to bring with you, and the gear that you need to bring is, think about winter in Jerusalem. Basically, that's the weather. Okay, it's not that cold. Again, it's peak summer. It will be plus 5 degrees. You can see everyone's, again, wearing coats, wearing warm pants, hats, gloves, whatever, but it doesn't go below freezing. Okay, so you shouldn't expect extreme temperatures when we're there. Okay, so just if you have a ski outfit or whatever, I mean, and I said Jerusalem winter, Jersey winters are colder than Jerusalem winters. Okay, so you should be fine. Yeah.
And we'll be supplying a full packing list.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Let's go through the itinerary.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, when we're there, where is the? I'll go back to the.
Our PDF.
Yeah, no, I go back to this this part. Okay, so basically, again, on Tuesday we gather up in Punta Arenas and we board the plane on Wednesday. Again, that's the plan. The weather is the boss. Okay, we land in King George, so that's on a Wednesday. On Wednesday we start sailing south. So Wednesday, if we depending on when we land, if we land in the morning, we'll do an afternoon landing in the South Shetland Islands, which is over here. If we land a bit later, we'll start crossing and wake up in the morning on Thursday, right around here. I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor, just over here. That's when we have the first landing. That's on a Thursday. Afternoon, we have another landing over here in this bay over here. That's Thursday. On Friday, we'll have another landing over here. And we cross the Lamar Channel. Again, a beautiful, beautiful place. That's Friday afternoon. Okay, we do Shabbat on Saturday.
What time does Shabbat come in? Or what time?
The sunset is around 11 p.m.
So we'll bring it in. We'll bring it around 8 o'clock, 8:30, something like that.
Yeah.
So in other words, we're not compromised on a short Friday for the Zodiacs.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
You have a long Friday.
Right.
Okay, so in Shabbat we will probably be again, as I said, in Nico Harbor, which is over here, or we'll do one of these little bays over there.
But let me
So
interject.
Sorry?
Let me interject about the Shabbat program,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
Of course, for anyone that's Shomer Shabbat, wants to enjoy a Shabbat experience on board in the Antarctica, we'll provide everything, all that is needed, from candle lighting, the Sefer Torah, the Knesset, as we said, meals, Shabbat meals, traditional Shabbat meals. And then there will be what we call downtime that will be integrated with these lectures, these specialist lectures and talks. We're going to use the bulk of the spare time on Shabbat. Look, anyone that wants to get off on the Zodiac, the ship is going to be functioning as usual, and they will be providing the Zodiacs. No one's going to ask you any questions. Obviously, for those who are Shomer Shabbat, we stay on board and we have an alternative Shabbat program. But it doesn't mean that if somebody personally feels they want to, go off onto the Zodiac on Shabbat, that facility won't be available. However, having said that, even if you do stay on board for the entire Shabbat program, I think Roy will explain and back me up that one won't miss out on any of the attractions and any of the experiences if they stay on board on Shabbat, because of the way we operate the Zodiacs. And Roy, if you could just go into that we have full control of when we get on and off the Zodiacs, when we get offshore, how many times a day, because of the maneuverability on the Ocean Nova. And
it's a small vessel. We can do whatever we want. And it's our ship. And I'm the expedition leader.
Exactly.
Okay. So also, again, as David mentioned, the ship will be operating normally. Not all the people on board the ship will be Shomrei Shabbat. Okay. Some will be going off on the Zodiacs. And we've also had religious people, and we had a rabbi with a psak halacha that said you can go on the Zodiacs but not go on land. Okay, so again, up to you. I'm not judging or telling you what to do. And also, if you're there, once we are in one of the nicer bays, you can go on deck, okay, and see from deck all the beautiful places we're going to be. So even from the ship, if we'll have whales and if we'll have activity or anything, you can do that as much as you like. Spend time on deck, spend time on the lounge, spend time in the dining room, or read the newspaper. Do whatever you want to do.
Or have a bit of a rest.
Or have a bit of a rest.
Because it's in the middle of the week, which is great, because you've had, you've been busy all week, arrived on Tuesday, your adrenaline's running. Shabbat will be a bit of a downtime, but for those who still want some activity, it'll be available on board and off board.
So will there be internet available?
Yes, there will be. There is internet available. It's not going to be, it will be internet for WhatsApp, not internet for YouTube.
For emails?
Emails, yeah. Emails, yeah. But again, not YouTube, not Netflix or anything like that.
And that's at all times throughout the expedition?
A little asterisk, okay? Yeah. When some of the bays, especially Nico Harbor, the mountain is so high, it blocks the satellite signal. Yeah. So there are some of the bays, some of the fjords we're going to stay in for a little while, will be with no signal just because the mountain blocks the satellite. Okay, but there are other times of the day of the trip you will have internet. Okay?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so that's Saturday, Shabbat. On Sunday, we have some more activities over here in the north part, or it will even be in the South Shetlands. That's on Sunday. Okay, so we will go to Half Moon Island, Deception Island, the one I told you with you can do the polar plunge in. Okay, and King George Island. And then on Monday is our flight scheduled back. So we don't know, again, when the flight will be. Usually it's around noon-ish, okay, 1. So we will go on land once we know the plane has left Punta Arenas
to pick us
And
up
when
in
the
the
plane
future.
left, we know that in 2 hours it's gonna land. So at that point, we will start disembarking the Ocean Nova, go on land. The minibuses will pick us up again, will take us to a little lounge, a little waiting area, so we don't wait out in the cold. So there is some coffee, tea, drinks, whatever you want. We wait for the plane to land. You'll see it landing, and then once it's landed, the minibuses will take the passengers from the plane to the shoreline, come back, pick us up, and then take us to the plane. In the meantime, they refuel the plane, and this is why the flight is such a logistical nightmare. Okay, that you'll see so many people over there in Antarctica taking care of the plane. Okay, fueling, cleaning, getting it ready, everything they need. They even have a fire truck. They never used it, but they still have a fire truck over there just for regulation, just to make sure everything's safe. Okay, so it's a very high standard landing strip in the middle of nowhere, and just getting the fuel there to refuel the plane, because the plane must land almost empty fueled just because of the conditions of the runway, and then refuels and then fly back to Punta Arenas. So you'll see many people over there just taking care of our flight. And this is, again, the flights are just for us, for these kinds of trips. There is no regular flights. Okay, so we land in Punta Arenas back at around 4 or 5 p.m. And then we'll have buses driving us back to Punta Arenas, to Cabo del Horno Hotel. And on Tuesday at 10 a.m. is checkout time, and then you're available to go on your way. If you want to continue traveling South America or fly back home, that's up to you. But that's the end of the program. Okay, so that's basically what we plan. During the trip, just a sec, David, I know you want to add something about that. So during the trip, it's very condensed. Okay, so especially with the religious people, we will push for 2 to 3 landings every day, just to make sure that the landings, that if you don't do landings in Shabbat and you want to make up for it, so we will do 2 or 3 even extra landings on the other days, so you won't miss out on anything. Okay, that's the plan that we'll do. Again, weather dictates everything, but this is what we have we're planning to do. Yes,
Great.
David.
Thank you, Roy. I'd just like to go back about some logistics relating to the days prior as to how and when to arrive in Punta Arenas. So basically, Punta Arenas is a 2-hour flight, commercial flights from Santiago. I believe there are 2 to 3 flights per day on standard commercial airlines from Santiago, Chile to Punta Arenas. So effectively, every one of us need to fly internationally into Santiago sometime by late Monday night or earliest Tuesday morning. But keep in mind that we want to be you have to be in Punta Arenas by 2 p.m. So if you can guarantee and be sure that there's a 9 a.m. flight, and let's say you land in Santiago at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, and then a couple of 2 hours later, you've got a connecting flight to Punta Arenas, that's okay. But short of that,
Santiago.
wait, Helen,
Yeah,
put yourselves on mute. Sorry. Short of that, the better recommendation will be to arrive in Santiago sometime on the Monday, allowing yourself to recuperate it's a long distance flight from wherever you're coming, and then catch an early morning flight or a mid-morning flight from Punta Arenas from Santiago to Punta Arenas, arriving there in adequate time. So just keep that in mind. That's with regards the international flights. Roy made a point about pre and post tours, or indicated something. Did you mention something about that?
Activities, yeah. So if you want to, yeah.
So you've got this, you want to go into it, Roy? The option that we have?
Yeah, I can do that quickly if you want. If you guys are coming all the way to Punta Arenas, of course, this entire area is beautiful. And you know, it's not like every day you're there unless you are, and I don't know that. But the plan is to, I mean, if you do want to see some more of that area, one of my favorite nature reserve is called Torres del Paine. Torres del Paine. That's about 4 hours drive north of Punta Arenas. And if there will be interest, then we will hold with David a tour to Torres del Paine and do Shabbat in Torres del Paine. Okay, so you can do hikes and visits and stuff like that. And I highly recommend it. But that's only if you have the time.
Yeah, and the other option is that we're looking at to offer as a option is a pre-Shabbat in Santiago, Chile, with the Jewish community, experience it, get a feel for Santiago. We'll do some day tours, and then we'll fly.
Rabbi Pellman, yeah.
And then we'll fly together to Punta Arenas sometime on the Tuesday morning. We have a question here regarding the weight limit.
Sure.
For photographers especially who have tripods and multiple camera bodies and 400mm lenses, is there a limitation on the Zodiacs? And more importantly, is there a limitation on the flight from Punta Arenas to King George Island?
Okay, I see the question that Emmanuel asked.
Yes.
So regarding the weight, so the total weight of your camera bag, carry-on, checked-in luggage, everything has to be 20 kilograms. Okay, 20 kilograms for the total. Okay, that's luggage plus carry-on. And the airline is very strict because of safety. Okay, so what I do, Emmanuel, is because my camera bag weighs 15 kilograms, my luggage is 5. Okay, so just calculate it the way you like it. So I would bring 400mm. Yeah, tripods I wouldn't bring. I don't bring. Just because you don't really need tripods. You can handhold everything, and unless you're doing video, and then sure. Multiple camera bodies, 2, no more than 2. Okay, well, I don't know which camera bodies you have, but bring 2. Drones are illegal. Don't bring a drone. Okay, they're forbidden. It's restricted, so do not bring a drone. Once I brought a drone and thought, I bring a drone and maybe they'll let me fly it. No, the drone was in the luggage for the entire trip. Okay, so don't bring a drone. Flights, yeah. So it's not Prince Edward, it's King George. It's another royal family.
It's his father.
Yeah, exactly. So so just bring whatever you have. No need for more than 400mm. Regarding the vaccines or inoculations, you don't need anything specific. Okay, as long as COVID doesn't come back, which we hope it won't. But no need for any special vaccines or any special visas. I mean, you check for if you have. I don't know where you're coming from. You see, we have people from all over the world. Just check. You don't need any visa to go into Chile. But other than that, we're good.
Okay.
Got it. I just want to make sure I heard correctly that each person is allowed up to exactly 20 kilo.
Yeah.
Everything put together, checked.
Correct.
Correct.
But remember,
silly, but what about on your person, in your pocket?
They don't weigh that.
So like a backpack?
This is how we got
I can tell you my jacket weighs another 5 kilograms, okay?
Right.
With stuff in the pocket. Yeah. So again, I bring my jacket. I have lenses in my pockets. And yes, that's true. Also, batteries are in my pockets. Everything that I can put in my pockets. So again, my jacket is like another bag. But shouldn't be a problem. But again, remember 2 things. First, we only need to bring things to Antarctica for 7 days. Okay, we can leave the luggage. We can leave the luggage, the big luggage, in Punta Arenas, and I bring a small duffel bag, really lightweight. I have it here somewhere even. really lightweight, weighs nothing, weighs 200 grams. Okay, like a little like a shopping bag, you know, that folds into its own pocket, made of nylon. So that's what I get as a carry-on, sorry, as a luggage, checked-in luggage, and I just have, you know, like 6 underwears, 4 pairs of socks, 2 shirts, like something like that. You also have laundry services on board the ship, so in case you need laundry, you can do laundry on board, just like any hotel. You know, you just check in what you did. So like a shirt is $3, socks is $1.50. I don't remember the pricing exactly, but it's doable. Okay, so that's how I
And where
manage.
is the luggage stored, Roy? If you want to leave luggage.
So the luggage is stored in, if you want to know specifically, it's in the explorer's house. So when we meet in Santiago de Chile, sorry, in Punta Arenas, we go to the explorer's house. That's a house owned by Antarctica 21, the ship that we go with. So they have a storage room, where I leave my big luggage, because I also have clothes coming in from before and after, you know, and stuff like that. I just leave it there and just take my small duffel bag with the clothes for the 5-6 nights that we will be in Antarctica. So
And
there's
may I
no
ask-
need to really have a luggage, checked-in luggage of more than 10 kilograms for
Well,
that short.
we've allowed 20, but also let us share with everybody that being that it's specifically a kosher cruise, part of our own luggage allowance, which is part of the, you know,
Overall.
brutto amount, needs to incorporate, you know, items that need to go into the kitchen, whether it's chicken, meats, etc., groceries
Yeah.
that we cannot get on board, and therefore that is part of our overall gross luggage allowance.
So the 20 is net. Okay, that's after we removed the few kgs, the few kilograms
Per person.
we have reallocated to bring the beef, chicken, and everything else
Cheeses,
we need.
wines.
Okay, so we are flying in about 100+ kilograms of food. Okay, for the duration of the trip for the people who are eating kosher. So it would be 150 kilograms. So we are flying everything in with us. So it will be fresh and it will be kosher
And healthy.
and healthy. Yeah.
We're not eating meat every night. There'll be meat and chicken over
Fish.
Shabbat.
Yeah.
And then it will be fish-based, salmon, fishes, fresh, healthy, vegetables, fruits, breads, fresh breads on board,
Yeah.
healthy breakfasts. That's the idea.
Somebody's asking if there is a weather-based uncertainty on the flight back. So yeah, just like the flight there. So it might be a day early or a day later. Okay, just keep that in mind. Again, this is about weather. It's
What are the chances?
completely out of our hands. Again, 93% it will be on the planned day. 93%. Okay, 3% a day early, 3% a day later. So basically that's the statistics. Again, we plan to be on the 93% you'll be on the same day as planned. Okay, because again, the time of the year we'll be there is the more predictable weather.
Which is
Emmanuel
why
was asking
we,
what's the voltage.
which is why we chose end of January, right? If
Yeah.
you remember our
It's the peak
conversation.
season. Again, it's
Correct.
the peak of the like the pinnacle. Emmanuel is asking what is the voltage on. It's 220 volts. It's European.
Okay. Are there any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm sorry, could you please forgive me, but can you tell me what is the hashgacha for the food?
Sure. This is where we step in. I'm bringing a professional mashgiach / chef in one. His name, you may have noticed, is Rafi Solomon. He's a good friend and neighbor of ours. I've known him for many years. He's from London originally. He's had 20 years of experience of koshering and operating a kosher kitchen in small, tight spaces for small groups. On cruises and tours. We recently took him to Hawaii for a 4-island tour for 70 people, and he pulled that off without a plum. All the items that we bring in will be mahadrin, will be approved by him. If you have any questions, I'm happy to give you his details. He's a Chabad fellow. He's a very sincere, and it is his hashgacha at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we could charge, a few $100s more per person in order to get some grand rabbi's stamp on our brochure. But the way I look at things, it is the mashgiach on board that determines how kosher the cruise is. And I trust the mashgiach on board, not the rabbi in the office.
What happened?
Who's giving me his stamp and making money from his stamp. I'm sorry to be, blunt about it, but I've been in the business long enough, and I work with mashgichim that I know personally, the Yirei Shamayim, that are there to make sure that every element is 100% kosher. If anyone has any questions with regards, Rafi, I'm more than happy to introduce it to him right now. He couldn't join us on the Zoom because he's operating a kitchen in a summer hotel in the New York mountain areas. What's it called? The Catskills. And he's very sought after, and we are privileged to have him on board.
Okay, so also you need to know that breakfast and lunch is served buffet style. Okay, and dinner is served to the table service.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I have two questions. One to Roy.
Yes.
Then to the organizers.
Yes, Avi.
I'm a geologist and lover of penguins.
Aren't we all?
Wow.
Do we see herds of penguins? Which means colonies of thousands of penguins.
Yeah, so you mean we see colonies? That's the question?
Yeah.
Correct. So we will see several colonies. So the colonies are not like the one you see behind me right now. The colonies we see are, as I mentioned, are of Gentoo, Adelie, and Chinstrap. So we know where the colonies are. So they're there every year. It's very, 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 very predictable. So we do know that, for example, Peterman Island has a big colony of Adelie penguins. Okay, Half Moon Island has a big colony of Chinstrap penguins. So we do know where Nico Harbor has a colony of Gentoo. So we know where the colonies are. Each colony is between 500 and 5,000 penguins. Okay. Yeah. So the time we are there, you will already see the chicks fairly grown up. So the parents are still feeding them, but they're still not fledging, so they don't swim yet with penguins. Yeah, but you will see a lot of penguins, a lot of colonies. You'll see a lot of penguins, and you'll see a lot of rocks. That's for you.
Okay. Technical questions about payments and cancellations. You know, we are here in Israel. We don't know what's tomorrow.
I live here, I know. So yeah, so regarding payments, right now we just take, we start off with, again, the forms are the most important thing, and a deposit. Okay, so you just pay a deposit now, and the rest of the payments are coming in later. Regarding cancellation, we allow people to cancel until the end of 2024. Okay, without any penalty, but later on there are steps of penalties: 20%, 50%, and 100%. Of course, we don't want you to sign up and cancel. Okay, that's not the point of this this talk. We do want you to sign up and come with us because, again, it will be amazing. But if we, let's say, for example, this is also what happened to us last time. The trip was fully booked way in advance, and we've had people on standby. And when people wanted to cancel and we had people on standby, we just switched them on the manifesto of the ship, and then we just refunded the full amount to the person who had to cancel, because we had another person paying. So we won't enjoy or take to our advantage if somebody has to cancel and we have somebody else instead of that person. We only take penalty if we are being penalized. Okay, so our goal, and already right now, we already have 24 people on board out of a 60 people vessel. So we are already over 40% booked. Okay, we're gonna reach 50%, I guess, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I really strongly believe that this trip will be fully booked, but by mid 2025. Okay, I can't imagine a scenario where it won't be. So even if you sign up and you have to cancel and we have people on standby, you will not be penalized.
I mean, we do have the early bird
Correct.
discount,
Absolutely
which
right.
if you're keen to join and you're planning to join, there shouldn't be a reason that you shouldn't take advantage of that. And that is, if you look on
Until September 1st.
September 1st, you've got a discount based on a twin. That's 2 people in a room, a couple or a double, a son and a father, or mother and daughter, or grandfather and grandson, whatever combination. Or
Any 2 people. Yeah.
Any 2 people, discounted from $17,895 to $16,795. That's $1,100 saving there just by signing up no later than 1st of September. If it's a single, it's a discount of $1,500, and if it's a triple, there's a discount of
David, the singles are sold out. Don't tease them.
there's no more singles. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to convert them to doubles. So
yeah.
You know. So anyway, you have the price chart there. I just want to mention one more thing about the kosher element, is that it's very important that everyone that we are there. In other words, Chana and I are planning to be there. We will run the Beit Knesset, we'll run the Tefillot, we'll have a Sefer Torah on board, making sure the kitchen and all the supplies are there and having a fantastic, memorable experience. And we would love to see you. It's, I think if there's any last minute questions, otherwise, I'm more than happy to put anyone in touch with Roy directly at any point, either on WhatsApp or via the email. Just shoot me an email. By now, you will have all had a digital online booking form if you wish to go ahead. Feel free to forward this Zoom call to friends and family. And we hope to see you all in Antarctica. I want to take this opportunity to thank Roy. Thank you all for your time. The evening is...
We have another last question from Philip.
Yep.
Yes. I just, on past history, do you usually get daily minyanim on the cruise?
Sure. No,
Yes.
we already have a minion on board. From the 24 people, we already have a guaranteed minion on board.
We're there. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a huge surprise, again, that this is sold, again, almost half sold, fully sold. I mean, just, 18 months in advance. So this trip will be fully booked, I'm telling you, within the next few months. And if you want to join, we really, again, David and I, really recommend in taking advantage of the early bird. Okay, because there is no reason not to. And we'll see you on board. I got to run because I have another meeting starting in 3 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. Have a safe summer and enjoyable next couple of weeks. We should stay safe. As I say, we should hear good news from the Holy Land. And Roy, go visit Petach Tikva once in a while.
I'm trying to avoid that. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye for now, guys.
Very best.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.